What is going on, everybody? This your boy Sean, aka Puff Comics 83, and welcome back to another episode of Talking Movies, our Friday afternoon show, and where I am joined by my co-host and who is in lead of this show right here, Varangian Vigilante. How you doing, bro?
Doing very well. It was a busy week after the conference. There was a lot, of course, aftermath, like writing a summary, doing some transcriptions and everything. But it was a huge success, and I'm very happy now that this weekend, and of course to talk a movie that I truly love. And I think I'm probably also like in the lead here. So like, if anything comes, like I'm responsible.
Hey, when you shared the clip a couple months back and you had the Blu-ray, I was like, because I was thinking, what can we talk this week? And then when I looked, I saw it on Tubi. I was like, oh shit, it's on Tubi. So I'll go ahead and we'll talk it then.
Yeah, those bitches had it coming.
Yes, the Super Stooges versus the Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I mean,
Supermänner gegen Amazonen, oder how they call it here also, sie hauen alle mit Pfanne. Like they beat everybody in the pen, which is, you have to be German to get it. I love the cover art. Like this is like from the Blu-ray release.
That's beautiful.
I think the nipple is photoshopped out, sadly, but of course you also have like the classic cover that you used also here. And yeah, this movie is fantastic.
What's up, G-Man?
Hey, Rob. You see the diversity already had in Italian movies in the 70s, which is great. It's also a Shaw Brothers co-production, and this movie tackles two big evils in this world. It tackles the evil of racism and it tackles the evil of feminism.
Yep, and you can't say that it's not diverse, because even with the characters in it, there's somebody for everybody in this film.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like everybody's represented.
Yep. So considering that this is the first time watch for me, and the first thing that really comes to mind when the first opening scene was the Battle of the Amazons.
Yeah.
And it was to the death.
That scene is so good. This scene was actually cut in the original German release.
What?
Yeah. But luckily also in this edition is like the full uncut version, because this is actually really savage. You have some quality Amazon fights, like I said, to the death. This is truly what Wonder Woman was lacking.
Wonder Woman 84 should have been to the death.
Yeah, yes.
But I love the scene, but the fact that you say it was cut from the German, it's not even that brutality and violence.
Let's just say that back in the day, the censorship in Germany was fucking crazy. I mean, here in Austria, we don't have all these movie laws. Like, we're way too little for it, nobody cares. However, like, when it's released in Germany, it's the same version we're getting here usually, especially back in the day. I mean, I was not alive in the 70s, but it was better later on, when basically a lot of companies did like movie releases in Austria, so everybody in Germany could order it uncut from Austria. But this movie, probably thought it's a funny movie, and the rest of the movie doesn't match like the intensity and the tone of the introduction scene. However, the introduction scene is still awesome, and of course you want it there. But I love this movie, but I also would really like to see a version that is like that serious.
I think that's the thing with this film. Like, you start off with something as serious as that, and you like, this is gonna be something serious, but then you realize that this is hijinks comedy 101 all the way through. And right from the introduction scene of Morgue, you see these two guys and his bandits, for some reason wanting to find this person and start some trouble with him. And right then and there, it becomes a full-fledged comedy, full of music that I told you backstage. It kind of like tuned me out because I know comedies tend to have some
especially
music,
especially the Italian ones. It's like it's like this typical like buddy comedy music that you also hear in a lot of Bud Spencer and Terence Hill movies. But I totally like personally, since I also grew up with all of this and I'm very used to it. Like for me, that was not a problem. But I can totally get, when this is like your first time watch, that you think is like this music also like doesn't fit like the theme of the music of the film. Since even though you have like a mixture of different cultures in this movie, you clearly have, of course, like the European white type, then you have like the Asian martial artist, and of course, you also have like the black person from Africa, and everybody is like totally boss. Like the way they introduced Mark Hannibal's character who plays Morg, and the way they introduced also what's the name, Aldo Canti, who plays the white guy Aro, and of course
the second Dharma.
Who are you? Who plays Chung? Like all the introduction, they totally put them over.
They sure did.
Yeah, and to think that, wow, if they would have really done like a serious mixture of martial arts, sword and sorcery, with like a tip of blaxploitation cinema in it, like this would have been a recipe for success. I mean, this movie still is, at least here, it's a cult movie.
Yeah, I like, there's certain things in there I like. Like, I like the whole fact that, immortality is the big theme in this film. And the fires, and how, you can have the success of immortality and stuff. And while the men always seem like untouchable, they're unsure of whether or not they're immortal.
Yeah.
And there's always the prompts, because even the Amazons are after that.
Yeah, and I think that's also the interesting part, because, if you would play with 3 immortal beings, then the stakes would not really be there. And it's not the most coherent movie, obviously, with who can do what in sort of superpowers. But it's still, you're still watching it and say, okay, yeah, I can buy it in that world. The thing is also that this movie, although it's like a standalone movie, it's like based on this Free Superman franchise from Italy, which originated in the 60s and ended like in the 80s. Like all movies very loosely connected, also with different actors and everything. But it plays into that, and this is also, if you watch it and see, hey, this looks like an awesome like sword and sorcery, or like a peplum, like sword and sandal movie, or like even when you watch other posters, oh, this looks like an awesome Eastern, and then you watch it and it's like an Italian comedy. Then you think like, what the fuck? But of course, if you read the title and like the Italian franchise, then it makes sense.
When I highlighted the title in Italian and then I looked it up in English, I was like, Super Stooges.
Yes.
And first thing that came to mind was Vince McMahon's Stooges, Pat Patterson, and Terrell I was like, damn, these guys ain't Stooges now.
Vince McMahon would have never put the Slim Asian over.
No. And Vince McMahon would have been hitting on all the Amazons too.
Yeah.
Oh man. But like the introduction of Morg was hilarious, because this guy is just eating up a storm. Like he is chowing down, he is having a blast, just eating all the good food. And then these 2 guys in this band just come and bother.
Yeah, and nobody wants to be bothered when they eat.
And this is where I like, when you talk about suspend your disbelief, I'm like, this whole movie is about like wanting immortality and stuff, but damn near Morg is invincible. This man is withstanding all the punishment, just sitting there like, y'all hit me in the head with a brick, hit me over the head with some wood, hit me over the head with everything, and he's just sitting there still eating.
Yeah.
He got superpowers.
This is also like a very famous Italian comedy trope, which naturally has been most famous with the buddy movies of Bud Spencer and Terence Hill. You know that every time they beat like Bud Spencer, like there was nothing, and he then just boom, and the person was like rammed into the ground.
I like when he took Squire and bounced him on it like a basketball. I was like, it was so weird, but at the same time, it was funny.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I really wish, because with some movies, you would have had different cuts. So I really wish, they would have, especially since it's been a co-production with Shaw Brothers, that there would have been like a different cut for the Hong Kong market. I mean, I don't know if there is one, but I assume there is none. That would be very interesting to see, from the different point of view.
It would have been interesting if this was 100% Shaw Brothers and how different it would be.
Yeah.
Because Chung was the martial artist of the group.
Yeah. And
his superpower was just being great at kicking people's ass. Because
that's one of my favorite superpowers.
He was like Morg was the superpower, like Hulk type of the group, and Chung was the ass kicker of the group.
Yeah, and Dharma basically
the magician.
I would even say for me he seemed also like a little bit like a Phantom ripoff.
I look at him as a part magician, part con artist, but yet he has the power of evading. Like he knows how to evade good and use his power of bouncing off his legs, jumping from high distances to get away from the hell. I thought all three of them had unique character traits.
Yes, and what is actually one of my most favorite parts in the movie, where I also think they mixed the comedy aspect and the fighting aspect the best, is when the three came together. When they had their hunt through the marketplace, and all the introduced characters then were at the same space, and they just suddenly started to work together against all these henchmen.
Hey, like let's just team up,
Yeah.
And we don't even know each other, but what, I'm gonna help out.
And they had a really good chemistry.
Yeah, it's especially Chung and Morg. I like their chemistry, especially with the fire. But it was funny how they all came together, because they started out on a separate path. I think all of them met the bandits. I was like, these bandits just can't catch a break.
Yeah. They really went the wrong
and another aspect of the film, that even though like the whole thing about immortality, it's also about who ran each territory.
Yeah.
Dharma had his territory where all his people, the original Dharma, which was the older man, they came and bring gifts and ask for wisdom and advice, and hey, the Amazons are attacking our land because they want a piece of the land and property tax and all that. And I gotta say, OG Dharma was a complete douchebag. I was like, this guy, he's like, well, I just asked for gifts, but then bring them on in. And then he started to get mad about the pepper.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, these people bring you gifts, and then you're going to start getting mad about, the pepper better be in there, or I'm going to strike you down. I'm like, what? Douchebag.
Absolutely.
I was like, I'm glad younger Dom took over.
Yeah, and he was way better.
And he knew how to calm them at the end when we get there.
Yeah, naturally.
Like I said, he's part con man too, because they all.
Yeah. Well, he also was his student, so also learned like some of those tricks.
Yeah, but the Amazons was moving in, wanting to claim territory and say, "Hey, you're gonna have to bring us gifts now. We want some of that tax."
Which actually sounds like a lot like feminists on Twitter, especially in the comic industry.
They want to stake their claims on everything.
Yeah, so basically this movie feels like a huge Twitter argument, but funny.
What was the name of the lead Amazon warrior that won at the beginning? I forgot her name.
Longo, I think. No, this is the actress. Akela. What is the Amazon Queen? Melissa Longo was the actress, and Akela was the name of the Amazon Queen.
Okay.
And there's also like the High Priestess, but I think she doesn't have a name.
I know I see Bagheera, Queen of the Amazons.
It was the commander,
yeah, because the one who won at the beginning, Mila, was the commander, and she was like headstrong, like very headstrong, very demanding, and yeah.
Hey, Chef.
I'll be there, Jeff. You'll see me.
Actually, Jeff, today you're missing, and we would have like the free Superman. Like
yeah, Jeff, join in.
Yeah, watch this movie, Jeff.
But you know, we can criticize like feminine aspects, but I can't criticize her performance. I thought she was strong as the commander of the Amazon.
They were all strong. They also had incredible fighting scenes, and they also were hot as fuck.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? One thing about these '70s films is like, you pay attention close enough that sometimes they'll swap out the woman for male stuntmen to do their scenes, and I'm like, I hope these ain't men that they're actually getting. I like, let the woman do their own stunts. They want the job. Let them do their stunts.
I mean, like those gladiator fighting, you know, with the costumes look amazing in this movie. The costumes, you know, I like this movie, but the costumes are way better than this movie deserves. Especially the Amazon ones. Like, I mean, that's always the good thing about Italian movies, since Italy is also very famous for like the operas and for their theaters. So you have like a lot of costumes around in Italian theaters. So that's why usually, and of course, like, I mean, it's the world capital of fashion.
And you know what? More like, he looked like a Roman gladiator with his costume.
I think more like from Carthage. Like North Africa from Carthage. But it's it's like a minor detail.
Because of his stature, he had that gladiator style feel.
I mean, it also fits like his real life name, of course, like Mark Hannibal, which also would fit Carthage.
Yeah. Which is a badass name.
He was a really great cast. I mean, I think he also was the draw, like the international draw, since of course people already knew him from his basketball career.
Yeah, athletics.
Yeah, that's also of course this joke when he played basketball with a guy. Bounce.
But yeah, like I like you said, the costumes were pretty good.
Yeah.
And like, you almost want to see more of the Amazons, but you know, the movie is about the Supermen, you know, and their path together. And I like what you mentioned backstage about how for each Superman they got their own female counterpart.
Yeah.
You had an Asian girl that was a part of the bandits.
Yeah.
And I like how she first appeared. Like, the bandits got their ass whooped by Chung, and then she shows up out and gives the best fight out of all the bandits.
Yeah.
And she was associated with them. I'm like, where they find her at? And then Borg was destined to find a lady in the one of the lands, and lo and behold, another black girl show up, and I'm like, you got a black man, black woman, and that's it. Like, one black girl, the whole damn land, and that's the one that he finds.
I mean, it was the 70s, you know, and it's like already we have 3 different races as like main characters, like one step at a time.
One step at a time. they get together and they populate and bring more.
Yeah.
In Dharma's case, though, the young Dharma, he hooked up with an Amazon that he didn't know was an Amazon yet.
Yeah.
But she fell for him later on because she like, man, he was good.
Yeah.
But the way they connected and started their journey for immortality and stuff. My favorite scene is the fire scene with Chung and Morg about, you know, who's gonna test who.
Yeah, that
was. Do you got immortality? Well, I'm gonna stick my hand in the fire and see whether or not I get burnt. Morg stuck his hand there, and he already invincible, so he wasn't burnt.
Yeah.
But Chung, the same thing didn't happen to him.
Yeah.
What's up, Two Gun?
Yeah, this is one of the scenes where it's also great mix, you know, from the story wise, but also that was when the humor like really landed.
Yeah, because of their chemistry, like you mentioned earlier, they connected pretty quickly and knew how to work off each other.
But also with the girls, you know, with each of their girls, they didn't have so much screen time, but they were not just like damsels in distress. Like they clearly also had like their act together.
I'll say that sister though, like their village got ransacked by the Amazons, but then as soon as she saw Morg, she just forgot about that and just happy to see him. And like, y'all just got ransacked by the Amazons, and you know she was screaming and all that.
It's my cannibal, you know. It's like, hey, my whole my whole village got ransacked and slaughtered. On the other hand, like,
hey, like Morg, I need you to kick these Amazons' asses before we can go further.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of other scenes that I really like. I liked it when they captured Dharma, the Amazons captured Dharma.
Yeah.
And they planned his escape. And of course, what's his name? The two bandits, you know, they think they can get by.
They wanted to make a deal with the Amazons.
And then when they leave, they get captured by Morg and Chung, and then they just give the information on how they got in and just get knocked out and they get in.
In general, of course, since it's like an old Italian movie, also the runtime is very, very nice. It's not too long. Hey, shot for comics. So it's a very easy watch through, and there's also no lengths in the movie. Yeah, like you really have your nice introductions, like to the main characters in the beginning. Then the meet, then they have some fight, and of course you have like some tension with the kidnapped Dharma, which is also of course like a classic trope in Italian movies, which also already harkens back to the people in the Western movies, which doesn't surprises me because Alfonso Brescia is the director of this movie, and he did some of the most savage westerns, and he also did a lot of Sword and Sandal Pablo movies before that. So he clearly, he was like a master of Italian cinema.
You know what? I love that even after he was captured, Dharma was laughing at those Amazons.
Yeah,
y'all captured me, but I'm good. I know what I'm gonna get out of this. Yeah. he was laughing at them in captivity.
Yeah. And also, Alfonso Brescia, the director, did one of my favorite sorcery movies, like Iron Warrior, the third Arthur movie.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, that one is really good. I think you even have the movie poster here somewhere, but don't want to go through all the trash here.
So what else you really love from this movie?
The chemistry between, like I said, the chemistry between the main characters. Then, of course, that being an Italian movie, you have this mixture like of comedy, but also people can just die. Like in the beginning, like really savage Amazon gladiator fight. So, on the one hand, you can say it's a weakness because it doesn't really like establish like a genre. on the other hand, it's like so bonkers. So you watch it, you think anything can happen. I mean, show me a movie that is funny where I mean, it sounds awful when you say it, where like men beat up in the climax of the movie.
No,
But they're Amazons. They're Amazons. They're not.
I will say that even though this film was in the 70s and the quality of the film, like when the dark scenes was very dark, it's hard to like really focus on what's going on.
Yeah,
but the ending scene,
it's better with the Blu-ray.
The ending scene with the whole bombs away stuff in the Amazon, I thought that was fantastic.
That was
fantastic. Yeah. I was like, if this was better, if I can like hunt down a real good copy and see that in its glory, that scene was amazing. How they set up the Amazons.
Yeah, and all like the final fight, you know, it almost looked like, hey, did they find some budget laying around? Like, did the mafia? Like,
I think they saved all their budget for that.
Yeah. But it's also like a classic, of course, classic exploitation movie technique. So you know where you're gonna put in the budget and which scenes, and the rest are a lot of fillers. But while in some movies the fillers feel a little bit too long, here they saved a lot with the comedy. I think the English comedies, my Italian is not good enough to understand like the whole comedy in Italian. But here, the movie is also very famous because it was dubbed by the Brand Studios, and those were like studios that took a lot of movies and made them even sillier. Like, which this is like a sort of humor. I think that's one you only truly get when you're German.
I can see that.
Yeah,
like I said, for me it wasn't like gut busting funny, but I understood some of the comedic scenes in there. And
then just think about it like when you watch the German version, it's at least twice as funny.
You know, like it's definitely your slapstick comedy, like buddy team up comedy.
Yeah.
But there's also some really good action scenes in the film.
Yeah, and especially like being a sword and sorcery fan, this is also like a movie that for me is I would always say, you know, it's on the watch list. It's like a movie that I recommend. You know, when you like fantasy, when you like paper, when you like Eastern, this is a movie that should not function, but it does.
There's a lot of movies that shouldn't function.
Yeah.
And whether they suck or they're actually really good, at least they were given the opportunity to be made and say, hey, let's see if this works or not.
Yeah, it's so crazy because this is like a movie. Personally, I wouldn't say it's like such a movie that is so bad that it's good, because I truly love it, I truly appreciate it. But I think this is like you can enjoy from many angles.
And there's certain scenes in there that cracked me up. Like when I think it was either Dharma or Chung when they were infiltrating the Amazon base.
Yeah.
And one of the Amazons opened up things, she got kicked right in the face. I was like, that's how we wrote. I'm like, no mercy.
Yeah, it's like a product of its time. Which doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It means I wish we could still have movies like this.
Yeah, because a movie like this made today,
yeah,
it wouldn't last, man.
Yeah.
They would try and tear it apart. You know, like feminism would be like, no, they got to win all the time. I'm like, nah, there's evil feminists out there too.
Yeah, there is. Like, and
good and bad.
There's a lot of evil. I mean, there's a lot of evil of every ideology out there. Like, basically everybody who... Usually when somebody has some sort of supremacy, it's like, most likely they're like evil.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a supreme over everybody.
Exactly. So, and that's also what I really love about this movie, that... It just feels naturally interesting.
Hey,
Hey,
Anika.
Fresh Princess. So it just functions, you know. It's one of these movies where you have a script and you wonder is like how did it put it off, but then you have a cast that shares a fantastic chemistry, that everybody has a good humor, like a good understanding of humor, and then you also have some decent martial arts in it, and a great, but it's like a genre mix that somehow functions.
What was the scene where Morg had this big ass giant urn and he was just swinging it all over, knocking
Yeah.
every Amazon that he can knock out?
Yeah,
It has the mix of like martial arts, of cunning, ability of Dharma, and the superpower of Morg. You know,
Yeah.
so all three are represented well.
exactly. So it's a genre mix that is an enjoy. It's just a joy to watch. You know, I'm watching this movie. When it's done, I can't be in a bad mood.
I want to say that. You can't be in a bad mood because we men won at the end.
Yeah.
The Amazons went down.
Yeah, they went down. It's like
You feel vindicated.
exactly.
I'm like, but that ending battle, the way they planned it out, because they knew they had time to make plans, and the whole throwing of the bomb rocks and just frustrating the Amazon, I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah.
It to me, it really ended the movie on a high note. Like the movie was decent going in, but when it got to that part, I was like, if I need to see a better quality because the darkness of the scene really like muddled what I could see. But from what I saw, I was like, man, if this was done with better lighting, it would have been
Yeah, like I said, I really recommend the remastered edition. That does a lot better in that, because I also remember the first but there's like I also still have like the old DVD, and that was in VHS rip.
Yeah.
And
I remember the days of watching movies on VHS, and I'm like, man, this is pretty dark. And then when you see it in Blu-ray 4K, I was like, man, where did all this light come from?
Yeah,
it's like when we talked when we talked the John Carpenter film, Assault from Precinct 13.
Yeah.
You watched the original cut of that, and it's dark as fuck.
Especially when they were storming like the precinct and they were shooting out of the windows. Yeah. Like in the original, they were really like, you know, they don't know where they are, and in the remastered edition, you were able to see them.
Yeah.
That's always a thing where I'm also saying, especially when a movie plays a lot with light and dark, I always want to have like not a remaster from the original, but just like at least a version of it.
Yeah.
Since especially like with horror movies, you know, what's the House by the Cemetery, for example, by Fulci. When you watch the Blu-ray edition, which is beautifully remastered, but the problem that's so beautifully remastered is that it's way too light in the basement. So you can see the horror already coming, which is, it still works, but when you watch like the old VHS, or when you see like something from the Super 8, it's just, you know, it's so much more darker and more scarier.
Yeah, that's the thing. You lose the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Of the original. Like some movies it works, and then some movies like, man, I kind of miss that darkness.
And especially with Italian movies, since they did not really shoot in the dark, but as you can see in night scenes in Italian movies, mostly people have shadows. They just use like a blue or black filter over the day scenes, and then when you remaster it, you don't really care or forget about it.
And like, I will say that this movie kept me entertained.
Yeah. Yo,
It kept me
Perry.
in- What's up, Gary? Perry. But this movie did kept me entertained.
Yeah.
I was
From the
never
beginning
bored.
to end.
It had its nice comedic moments. Like I said, the only negative for me, and to be honest, outside of that one song that I did not like playing, I actually liked the other score
Yeah.
part of the film.
It's
I
also
thought the
of
music
course,
fit
strength
on the
in
other
movie.
scenes. It's just that one song just it really like, yeah, I'm watching the comedy.
Yeah. And this is also something, like I said, what it makes it so pleasant to watch is that this movie does a great job to pick you up in the beginning with this awesome introduction of the three main characters, and with the fantastic fight in the end. It gives you a really nice send off, and then you also have like this scene, the after scene where you have some humor and the chemistry of the characters is playing again in it. So it picks you up in a good mood and it leaves you in a good mood.
Yeah, and I was entertained, and that's what we always say. Like, a movie must keep your attention,
Exactly.
and you must be entertained.
And how long is it again? Yeah, 101 minutes in the uncut version. Perfect running time.
Yeah, I mean, of course, with me, I watch it on Tubi, so I get ads with it. But
Yeah.
I was like, the ads was running by quick, and the movie was entertaining enough that I never felt bored. And it had some funny moments in there and character traits, especially at the end when Dharma just completely said, "Yeah, I'm taking my girl and running off and leaving her too." I was like, you con man.
Yeah. You charming con man. Like it was like a dick move, but we can't be mad at you.
But yeah, I enjoyed the film. Will I watch it again? I don't think so. Like, not immediately. It's not on my favorite list like it's on yours. But it was a good watch.
Yeah, for me, it's one of my, there's, like I say, in Happy Gilmore, it's like a happy place movie.
Yeah.
It's like when I watch it, and immediately I'm just in a good mood.
And that's what a movie's supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's supposed to put you in a good mood that you like, man, not only I love this movie, but every time I watch it, I just feel good, enjoying this film. And like I said earlier, like, the men won, so
Yeah.
of course we're gonna feel real good. But like I said, it do leave me wanting to see more of the Amazon, because I felt like this was a solid representation of what
Actually,
the Amazons
really well,
was
yeah.
at the beginning. Like,
And what I
What they
also
could-
really love is because usually movies mostly show like Amazons like good characters, and here the Amazons were like the evil conquering, pressing money and blood out of the land tribe.
yeah, and that's in both male and females. They
Yeah.
all do that.
Exactly, like.
So
if
you
can
gotta show
count
that
it-
side too.
Yeah, if you can count one thing in history, it doesn't matter which culture, which gender, it's like there's assholes everywhere.
Yep, and those
There's-
assholes got
there's-
to be
There's good
Taken
people
down.
everywhere, and there's assholes everywhere.
taken down.
Yeah.
But like I said, the beginning, I thought the movie started real great with the Amazon battle, and it ended really great with the battle
Yeah.
of all. And the battle between the commander and Dharma,
Yeah.
it was pretty good, even though, like I said, the darkness of
But I
the
like
fire.
the fire. I really like the fire.
And I like how the fire concluded everything. Like,
Yeah.
it's like,
Actually, yeah.
when you really look at it, like, everything started with that fire, because they say that I forgot what it's called, but the fire leads to immortality. She wasn't immortal,
Yeah.
and she burnt to death.
Man, when you're not immortal, you get grilled.
So everything
Yeah.
came back around with that.
I'm pretty sure one thing is, it seems like there was a lot of fun on set, and it must have been one unsafe set, but it's usually that's normally Italy with movies at that time. There were no safety regulations.
Yeah,
Like
they
with all that fire around, like I'm pretty sure like some stuntmen got some souvenirs.
I will say a funny moment that was dumb was more thinking it was a good idea to put wings on and try and fly.
Yeah.
I was like, brother, you wasn't thinking. Your big ass, you the heaviest of the three.
Yeah.
And then you gonna fall into that and say, oh, no, this ain't a good idea, but I'm gonna do it anyway. What? Yeah. He went crashing down. I was like, exactly.
Yeah. I still wish we would have gotten more movies like this, but series. But it's always the case, I mean, there's still some movie out there that I'm like stumbling upon, where I'm like, hey, there's actually a movie I was totally looking for. But I always wish, like, from this period, we would have got even more sword and sorcery and fantasy movies.
And another thing I liked was how they jumped up the mountain. When they realized they wasn't going to fly, they like, well, slingshot our way up there. So. Oh yeah. They was getting creative with how they needed to get where they got to go.
Yeah.
But there were some good moments in the film that I was like, yeah, I liked that, and of course the squire and his bandit leader partaking in the final fight, getting their asses kicked, and I was like, you guys were assholes throughout the whole movie, so of course.
Yeah, I think that the sad thing is that all three main actors are dead by now.
Yeah, I don't even know if any of them, the main cast, is living.
Yeah, maybe some of the younger ones, but yeah. But it's like the sad thing with movies that are so old. But they did especially the Chinese actor. He did a shitload of martial arts movies. He's also in Hardboiled too.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in a couple of Shaw Brothers films too. So
yeah, naturally, Shaw Brothers, of course, like brought their talent. Yeah, that's the thing. It's awesome that it's a Shaw Brothers co-production, but being a Shaw Brothers co-production, like we already mentioned, you always think like it could have been a little bit more.
Yeah, like we got 2 Asians in the film that specialize in martial arts.
Yeah.
But imagine if there was an Asian contingent in the film, like a village that's full of the Asians. That would have been a kung fu explosion right there.
There are some fantastic Italian western with some martial arts action. We have to talk about one of these in the future.
Yeah, Italy, I will say, they knew how to blend a lot of things very well.
Yeah, and the thing is, the crazy, like the German title translation of these movies back in the day, they were always like so racist.
But it was a product of its time, just like this film.
Yeah,
a product of its time, and people can't look at it with modern criticism.
Yeah,
it's always just got to look at it as a product of its time and enjoy it for what it is. If you don't enjoy it, fine, it's not for you.
And that's so special. Back in the day, it was also like it sounded like cool, and it was actually not meant being disrespectful.
Yeah, like I said, I enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
I'm glad I decided to watch it, saw it on Tubi and stuff. Just talk about it. It was a very interesting watch.
Yeah, but next week is a true highlight.
Yes. Thanks to you sharing that Last Dragon post, I was like, let's talk Last Dragon again. And then you threw in the extra Into the Dragon. And we have not talked Into the Dragon yet, so it is finally time to talk that film.
So good. So fucking good.
And I know Jace is going to join us. Hopefully John... If Steve is available, he can join, and whoever else wants to join in on that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a feast, like a celebration of 2 of the best martial arts movies in history.
And then we can do fantasy booking and say Bruce Lee versus Shonuff. Bruce Leroy against Bolo Yin. Oh man.
That'd be good, yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna be epic next week. You know, just revisiting Last Dragon and talking Into the Dragon with it. It's gonna be.
And I just recently rewatched like both, but of course I want to see again rewatch it.
Yep, it's gonna be a blast, man. And
the
amount of people that passed away from both films, it's like I sometimes whenever somebody posts Julius Carey, I wish he was still alive.
Yeah,
because that movie, people loved him so much in it, and he did a lot of other stuff that people really kind of like forget about. Because he was in that show with what's his name? Oh, shit, I can't remember.
I think they also recently released a movie with him here. Where do I have it? I really have to. The Death Dimension.
Death Dimension?
Yeah.
But what was that he was in with somebody that... Oh! The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr.
Oh, yeah. one TV series that should have never been cancelled.
Yeah, him and Bruce Campbell, man. I was like, fuck. That was really good.
Yeah, and it was a magic time, and like there were so many fantastic TV series which we didn't value enough back in the day. Like also Relic Hunter.
Oh yeah.
Tia Carrere. I'm lucky that I have the whole Blu-ray set. It's such a joy to rewatch. Like these series aged so well. You know, even with all its 90ness, I also think that the Conan, the Adventurer series, actually aged well.
Man, there was a lot of good shows in the 90s. And I was sucked into all the sci-fi shows. Do you remember Sliders?
Yes.
Man, I remember like watching that religiously. And then I think it was after like, maybe during the 4th season, something happened. And I didn't like it and I kind of fell off with it.
Yeah, it wasn't really like it. I also remembered watching it on afternoon. It was always, I think, on RTL on German TV. But I always like, Rice Davis.
Rice Davis.
Yeah, like he was the one who drew me in because, of course, I knew him from the dinosaur movies.
But man,
and of course now he's Gimli, but that was before he was Gimli.
But yeah, I used to watch a lot of the Battlestar Galactica, all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Sci-fi shows was the shit back in the 90s.
Hey,
like,
and Andromeda, Captain Dylan Hunt, Kevin Sorbo.
And Stargate, you know, when that first came on the scene, I liked it, the movie, but I liked it, the TV show better.
But what is the best science fiction television series of all time?
Man, there's too many to name, man. What is it to you?
There's only one. Babylon 5.
Babylon 5. That's another good one right there.
Yeah,
like
they're bringing an animated movie is coming out next month.
See, Babylon 5 is one of those shows that I need to revisit.
Yeah, I'm happy I have the whole DVD set here. This series has so much wisdom, like so much from this series, like really changed me as a human, and I incorporated that into my daily life. Like when Sheridan said, you know, when his father told him one thing: never start a fight, but always finish it.
Yeah, that's a show I need to revisit. There was so many shows in there that I was like, Babylon 5 kind of like went out of my head for a bit because you had all the Star Trek, you had Stargate, you had Battlestar Galactica, Sliders, and Quantum Leap. Yeah. I was like, fuck, man, we had so many shows back then that was just fantastic.
And I'm pretty sure we forgot about a lot of it. I mean, and of course, we also had like Knight Rider, David Hasselhoff.
I need to send you one of these video clips on Instagram. This dude is killing it with the Knight Rider comedy skits.
Yeah.
I gotta send you that.
I swear, it's like if David Hasselhoff would run either in Germany or Austria for president, he would get like 95% of the votes.
So, what's your update on The Wire? Did you finish first season?
Actually, I haven't watched anything in the last time. I didn't have any time.
Okay. Because I know you had the presentation last time,
yeah,
so you had to prepare for that.
Yeah, so I really hope that I can continue watching next week. Where hopefully things are getting a little bit more regular. But yeah, I'm looking forward to continue to watch.
Sweet. I know you saw Jeff's comment earlier. Tomorrow's another comic show in Florida.
It's always a comic show in Florida.
Always another comic show, but a Brick City comic toy show up in Ocala. So we're gonna meet up there and we're gonna have a good time. But I gotta say, I was jealous when Steve and Hilaire got to meet Matt. I was like,
yeah.
I am so looking forward to not only seeing Matt, seeing Al, G-Man, and all those guys when they come down, so we can just have a good time.
Yeah, it's so odd because since when you're live with somebody, when you watch people live, you already feel like you know them.
Yeah, and
but
all
like
we need is a portal to bring you over.
Yeah. There's always when you then suddenly meet somebody, it's like it's a whole other level.
Yeah, and I liked what Hilaire said on the show, where you meet people and you felt like they were your long lost brother.
Yeah,
and you just instantly connect. Whereas some people you don't really connect with, but it was cool to meet them.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna connect with everybody. Like everybody has different personalities and different ways of doing things. So, but the fact that him and Matt instantly connected and they were inseparable is like that's what I love. When I met Hilaire and Steve, we became best friends and brothers. And I know it'll be the same for you if we ever meet. It's like we're gonna do the Carl Weathers Arnold Schwarzenegger handshake. We're gonna hug, and we're just gonna have a fun time.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to tomorrow hanging out with the guys.
It's gonna be epic. Anything you're hunting for?
I'm actually making a focus to complete some Black Panthers.
Nice.
Like I'm gonna look for some jungle action, and I'm gonna try and finish my Christopher Priest run of that. So
that's a good goal.
Yeah, that's my main focus for tomorrow's Black Panther.
Yeah, I still can't believe that I got 2 of these, which of course one you're getting for $10 each.
Lou Ferrigno, man.
Yeah, I guess I'm not a hard guy, but I'm a Lou Ferrigno guy.
Yeah, that's all you need. Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk. Awesome.
Just pure awesomeness.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I'm also buying more back issues now since I just did my pre-orders. I think for September today. I think it was just Red Sonja and Cody.
That's it, man. That's all you need.
Yeah.
And no Fire and Ice?
Oh, Fire and Ice too. I also pre-ordered for issue number 2 the Astra for Mahmoud, the Astra cover.
I'm looking forward to that because I told myself to put that in there, and I want to see how it is.
Yeah.
And shout out to Sarah Frazetta.
Yeah, she's killing it.
Though she got the Arnold thing yesterday, and that was amazing. Just seeing her in those photos. Hopefully, we can do a special talking about the Fire and Ice comic and have her on.
Yeah, she also gonna send me some of the Lord of the Rings pants.
Nice.
Shorts.
So that's it for this week's episode. Definitely make sure you join us next week as we talk Into the Dragon and
You don't want to miss next week. Next week's gonna be huge and a lot of fanboying, a lot of nostalgia, and a lot of happy people talking about 2 movies that if you love martial arts, have to be at least in your top 10.
Exactly. And both films are classics.
Yes.
Classics. But yes, make sure you join us next week. And also, there'll be no Common Call Crew next weekend. We'll be taking the week off. We had an episode this past Saturday. Make sure you check that out. That was a great show with Hialeah Comic Pro on as a guest.
I still have to watch it in rewind.
Yeah, so make sure y'all check that out. And yeah, we'll see y'all next week. I want y'all to have a great weekend, y'all. Peace out.
Ciao, ciao.